In this video, I'm going to show you how to declutter some content inside a Canvas course, particularly if you've copied content from one course to another and you have some duplicates and things that you need to clear out. The first thing I will tell you, just kind of as a best practice, is if you know you're going to be copying in some content and replacing it, you may want to label the content that's currently in the course with some sort of identifier that shows that it's the previous year. For example, here I've added the year 2019 to this LAP's module just to differentiate it from incoming things that might have the same name. So that's the first step I would tell you before you do that copying. But now that that copying has happened, we want to clear out some of the old content and make sure students are only seeing what we really want them to. And there's two ways you can think about this. One is decluttering it from the student perspective, and then the other is decluttering it from the instructor perspective. So we're going to start with the students because that's probably the most important. I'm going to go ahead and go to the home page of this course, and I'm going to click on the student view icon. This is always a good idea, especially when you're doing kind of a decluttering thing, just to make sure your students are seeing what you want them to see. So when I click on here, you'll notice a lot of this stuff here on the left-hand side got cleared out. And when I click on modules, some are visible and some are not. And so everything that I can see here are the things that are published to students. And you'll notice, for example, I see like a 2019 LAPS one and a 2020 LAPS one, and there's two getting started modules. So obviously we're going to need to go in and hide some of that stuff for students. So really quick, I'm going to go ahead and leave the student view, and then we'll go back and show you how you can clean this up for your students. All right, now that I've left student view, I've got all these other things available, but because they have the little eyeball crossed out, that tells me that students can't see them, and I'm back in the modules area. The first thing I'm going to do is I am going to hide all of the content that I do not want my students to see, and that includes this old 2019 module, as well as the old Getting Started module. Now I'm going ahead and unpublishing both the module and the stuff inside of it. You could probably get away with just doing the module, but better safe than sorry. I'm going to unpublish everything simply by clicking on that green arrow. If it's green, that means it's visible. If it's unchecked with the little line through it, that means that students can't see it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for all of these items. And I'm going to do the same thing here for the old Getting Started piece. I'm going to go ahead and hide that one as well. And then I've got some things in a funky order, and if you've copied things into a course, you probably do have things kind of out of order. I'm going to just click and drag and move things where they need to be. So I'm moving the Getting Started here. I'm going to move this How to Use Canvas item into that new Getting Started module. And republish that because that's something that wasn't duplicated. And then I'm going to pull up all these 2020 LAPs. This was that new content I needed, and put that in there like that. Now there's a few things still here at the bottom, but you'll notice all of those are unpublished. So if I go back to the home page and click on the student view now, when I click on modules, you can see there is only that one Getting Started module and the 2020 LAPS module, which is what we want our students to see. Now there's a couple other things you can declutter from the student perspective, and it has to do with what you see here on the left-hand side. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to instructor view. And now I'm going to go to settings, which is clear down at the bottom of this list. And then I'm going to go to navigation. And you'll notice there's a few things here that are visible to students, and I'm going to pull out a few of them because I don't want students to deal with this Google Drive. I don't want them to deal with Office 365. I don't want them to deal with discussions. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. And now when I save this, you'll notice from my view, those things have gone away altogether. If I go back home and again go to student view, now the only options the students have are home and modules. We can go back and change that later if we want. You may want to release assignments, you may want to release other areas, but for now, for just getting students content, this is great because it's pared it way down for them. I'm going to leave student view, and I'm going to show you one other thing you can do to declutter things on your side as an instructor. So one thing you can do is just minimize these areas if they're hidden and you know students can't see them. I'm just clicking on this little arrow here, and that's minimizing it. And that's probably what I would recommend doing in a lot of cases because it just kind of gets it out of the way for you. You do also have the option of deleting this stuff. And if you go about deleting it, it's here on the little three dot area. There's an option that says delete. I'm not going to do that now, but that's where it would be. If you delete things from the modules area, you will probably also need to go into the pages area and delete the appropriate pages there. So when I go to pages, I'm going to click view all pages. And then there's probably going to be, like, notice all these things that are hidden here. That's a good way to tell if it's something you can delete or not. So if you are wanting to go in and delete some of that content, you'll also have to do it here from the pages as well as the modules. So hopefully that helps. In this case, my students are only seeing this home page and these modules, which is what we want. It's nice and pared down. If you have any other questions on how to pare down your Canvas course, let me know.